Hey guys, welcome back. I'm finally back in front of a camera for the first time in what seems like weeks, and I have returned with significantly less hair, both on the top of my head and also the bottom of my head. My failed quest to look like Venom Snake is officially over. Anyway, today I want to talk about the Hand of Atriox, this mysterious order or group or contingent or something within the Banished that was confirmed with the announcement of Jega Rdomnai, the Silent Shadow, basically this elite. I want to talk about the Hand of Atriox, what they might be, what they might consist of, and also how we might encounter them in-game. A little bit of like a throwback OG theory video. I've missed doing theory videos a lot, haven't done one in a while, so you know, I figured the Hand of Atriox is a really good topic to theorize about, so let's get down to it. But first, before we do, I have one thing to briefly talk about. This isn't a sponsor, I'm not being paid to talk about this, this is just something really cool that I think you guys are going to love that I really want to share. So, I don't do this very often, but there's a Halo fan project called Operation Charity Falls by HaloVFX that I've spoken about in videos before, and they recently released episode 2, and fellas, let me tell you, if you haven't seen this already, the quality is absolutely incredible. The series is basically about a Spartan clad in very nice looking Mark IV who goes to investigate the ruins, the flood-infested ruins of High Charity. But the real catch here is, like I said, just the level of quality. This is legitimate Blur cinematic quality, right? It is incredible. The flood horror atmosphere, the visual aesthetic, the audio design, it's all incredible. This is one of the best Halo fan projects I've ever seen. Trust me, I would not be talking about it and shouting it out in a video if it wasn't. Please go and check out episode 2. The links to support HaloVFX are all in the description. You guys will not be disappointed, I can assure you of that. But let's get on to the Hand of Atriox. So first off, let's talk about who they might be, and I have 3 theories. The first one is one that I see going around a fair bit. I'm not a fan of it. I don't really know anybody who's a fan of it, but it could be a viable alternative to the other theories, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. And that is that the Hand of Atriox are simply what the Silent Shadow became when they joined the Banished. So a little recap for those who maybe don't know about the Silent Shadow. The Silent Shadow were once a really elite group of elites, and also sometimes brutes within the Covenant, who specialized in assassination and espionage missions. They were extremely high-ranking warriors that wore extremely unique armor and were sent on missions to take out extremely high-ranking human HVTs, for example Spartans, notably Blue Team, they've been sent out to take out a few times, and also Roland and Jonah, 2 headhunters. And then following the Great Schism, the Silent Shadow basically diverted their attention towards hunting down and massacring what remained of the brutes following the war. However, a group of Silent Shadow led by a First Bleed known as Racer Azavale stumbled across Atriox on board his capital ship, the Elegy's Lament, at some point before 2559 when Halo Wars 2 takes place. And what happened was that Atriox, basically using his level 100 speech, managed to convince Racer's other Silent Shadow warriors to betray him, stab him in the back, and then join the Banished with Atriox. And from there on out, it's presumed that the Silent Shadow are part of the Banished. And then Atriox renamed the Silent Shadow to the Hand of Atriox, stripping away their Covenant name and giving them a new, free Banished name. Now, I don't personally like this idea because I feel like it's kind of boring. Just having the Hand of Atriox, which sounds like a really cool new thing, just be a renamed version of something that already has a really cool name, seems really lackluster to me. I don't like it. I really hope it's not the case. It definitely could be. I'm not saying that it's totally impossible, but it would be a very, very lame cop-out for me if the Hand of Atriox was something that we already knew about. It was just renamed. However, thankfully, I don't think that this is going to be the case, and there's a reason for that. So, Escharum, on his face, has the Hand of Atriox logo in war paint, the exact same logo that Jega Rdomnai has on his breastplate. Well, okay, I say exactly the same, it is slightly different. Maybe that's because each member of the Hand has like a slight variation of the logo to kind of differentiate themselves and make them more unique, but Nah, I doubt that. You gotta consider that it's drawn on Ishram in war paint and on Jega in, like, armor paint, kind of stylized. So I would assume that the slight differences in design for the logo are purely because they're painted on and they're not, like, stenciled on or something. That's awfully specific. I don't think the slight differentiations in the logo really mean anything. Now, if you wanted to be really pedantic, you could theorize that maybe at some point in the past, Escharum was once a Bloodstar, and we know that the Bloodstars served quite regularly with the Silent Shadow, and thus he could have joined the Banished with the Silent Shadow, hence why he has the Hand of Atriox logo on his war paint. You could maybe use that as very loose evidence to suggest that the Hand of Atriox are the Silent Shadow, but I don't know. For all we know about Escharum so far is that he's a War Chieftain. War Chieftains and Bloodstar members are very different rankings. They have very different roles. I wouldn't imagine the two would cross over. That said, Atriox did used to serve with the Bloodstars, so it's not entirely impossible, but again, I don't think so. I really don't think so. Ultimately, thankfully, I am 99% sure that the Hand of Atriox are not just a renamed Silent Shadow. At least, I really hope they aren't. But I do have two more theories, or at least one theory with two different schools of thought that I think are far more likely and far more interesting. And that is that the Hand of Atriox are some sort of order or contingent of extremely high-ranking Banished members. And like I said, there are two schools of thought here. The first one being that the Hand of Atriox are Atriox's closest and most trusted warriors. This would make sense, as calling them the Hand of Atriox is quite a personal thing. This thing is, it's quite personal to me. My god, that sounded so wrong. Calling them the Hand is quite a personal name, so I could see that being the case, and there also might be a bit of kind of strenuous evidence for it. So, seeing as Jega Rdomnai is confirmed to be the first member of the Hand, the inductee member of the Hand, if Jega was once one of Racer Azrael's elites who first joined the Banished, sometime between 2552 and 2559, that would make the Hand of Atriox a relatively new order within the Banished that started with Jega initially, but then expanded out from there to other members. Now, this would make sense if Jega Rdomnai was one of Racer Azrael's Silent Shadow. I mean, they were personally convinced by Atriox to betray their leader, and bear in mind, this isn't just like any random elite. These are some of the most honorable and respectful elites in the entire species, and Atriox managed to personally convince them to betray their First Blade and then join the Banished, and so that would make them pretty close to him and very fitting for being the Hand. I don't know, considering the name Hand of Atriox, I don't think you really need to provide much supporting evidence to persuade people that they are a high-ranking group of Banished warriors, but I don't know, I just thought I'd throw that evidence out there just as a little bit of supporting evidence if it makes sense. I think that made sense. If it didn't, you don't need it anyway. The Hand of Atriox makes sense. And the second school of thought in this theory is that the Hand of Atriox aren't warriors, but instead are the new leaders of the Banished, considering that Atriox is currently missing in action for the rest of the Banished. So Infinite is set in May of 2560. That means that it has been over a year since the Enduring Conviction was destroyed, and presumably, by extension, over a year since any of the Banished who didn't go to the Ark with Atriox have heard from their leader. That's a long time considering how far away and how dangerous the Ark is. The running theory right now is that most of the Banished, again who didn't go to the Ark, presume Atriox to be dead, or at the very least missing in action and not coming back. I mean, in that original Banished teaser that we got for Infinite, I'm presuming that was Escharum talking, says, "We are his will, we are his legacy." So, as far as we know, they think he's dead right now.
We are his will, we are his legacy.
And so, perhaps the Hand of Atriox were set up by Atriox himself should an event like this occur. Maybe they were built by Atriox to lead the Banished in his stead. Maybe, even if you want to go further, they were set up right before Atriox went to the Ark, because, I mean, he's a clever guy. He probably knew how far away and how dangerous the Ark was going to be. He probably set the Hand of Atriox up before he went, as like a contingency plan. So should he fall in battle or should he get stranded on the Ark, the rest of the Banished aren't left leaderless. Or maybe once the rest of the Banished kind of started to presume Atriox to be dead, some of the higher ranking members came together and formed the Hand in his honor, in his legacy, and filled the power vacuum while still respecting him. Personally, my bet is that the Hand of Atriox is going to be something of a combination between the two. A group of high-ranking trusted warriors who also lead the Banished, with Atriox being missing in action, stranded on the Ark. I think that makes the most sense, honestly, both logically and also narratively. Okay, so the final thing I want to talk about today is how we might encounter the Hand of Atriox in-game, and my theory right now is that they're going to be bosses. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? Halo and boss fights don't really go together very well, do they? I mean, the pinnacle of Halo's boss fights is punching an old man in a wheelchair, so Halo does not have a very good history with boss fights. However, I genuinely believe, right, that Halo has potential with boss fights. I just don't think that they've ever been executed right. I mean, Halo's gameplay loop is fantastic. It's still as addictive now as it was in 2001. Enemies are still as fun to fight now as they were in 2001. I see no reason why bosses can't be fun as well. I just think that every boss we've had so far has been either really lame, Warden Eternal, or just like kind of nothing. Like Seisoofume, the heretic leader, was just an elite with slightly stronger shields. Regret you punched an old man in a wheelchair. Tartarus was okay, but it relied on AI doing everything for you. Guilty Spark in Halo 3 was okay. The Didact was bad. Very, very bad. I mean, Halo can do them, right? I'm adamant. But anyway, back to the Hand. My bet is that the Hand of Atriox are sort of going to form Halo Infinite's version of Foxhound or the Sons of Liberty from Metal Gear. Now, I know I always reference Metal Gear, but there's good reason for that, right? Metal Gear does bosses great, and if Halo needs to take inspiration from any game's bosses, I'd say it's Metal Gear. Ultimately, I reckon the Hand are going to be a group of really unique and interesting antagonists that also double up as bosses and have their own really unique boss fights. We already know that Halo Infinite is going to have something of like an assassination mission, as you can see on the map here that we've looked at 1,000 times. There's an assassination mission for Okra Vagodun, so there's obviously going to be boss fights in the game in some capacity, so it wouldn't surprise me if 343 tried to make good ones again with the Hand of Atriox. I think a really cool way to do it would be, I'm assuming there are going to be 5 members of the Hand because, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. It'd be really cool if each finger of the Hand was like a representative of each species in the Banished, and if you look at it, it actually kind of lines up, right? So far we have Escharum, the leader of the Brutes in the Banished, we have Jega, the leader of the Elites in the Banished, presumably of course, so maybe a Jackal Ship Mistress, or a Jackal Matriarch or something, a Hunter Captain, maybe, I don't know, a Grunt Warlord or something crazy to represent the Grunts. Not the Brutes, the Grunts. There is also one other guy as well. Remember Hyperius? Remember that Mega Constructs brute that got named Hyperius? That everyone thought Escharum was Hyperius at first until they named him? Yeah, so where's he? Hyperius is weirdly missing. Maybe Hyperius is a member of the Hand as well. Who knows? But I still really think that having the Hand be a group of representatives from each member of the Banished would be a really cool idea. And would fit in perfectly with making the Hand of Atriox a sort of Sons of Liberty style of group of bosses that all represent very different groups of individuals and very different thoughts and beliefs and opinions. It'd be a great way to do that. Slots in like perfectly. I'd love for that to be the case. All in all, I really think that the Hand of Atriox is Halo's chance to finally do a good boss fight. I'm rooting for them, dude. I really want them to. Like I already said, Metal Gear Solid is the absolute apex of boss fights in gaming, if you ask me. Doom is a game that is more similar to Halo than MGS and also does bosses pretty well. But Metal Gear, the way that bosses' narratives and their gameplay kind of interlink and intertwine in Metal Gear is absolutely masterful, and honestly, with how deep Halo's universe is and how good and refined its gameplay is, I really feel like that's something that Halo could pull off as well. I mean, there are so many perfect examples of MGS doing this. Psycho Mantis reading your game saves and then manipulating the way you move and the way you fight him, having you pull out your controller and put it into a different slot to be able to damage him was genius. Fat Man's backstory of making bombs fitting into his boss fight. Grey Fox wanting to have a proper fight with you and not taking any damage unless you actually punch him. So many good examples, and I really think with Halo's insanely deep lore, it could do it so well. It really, really could do. But yeah, that's, I think, all for today. The Hand of Atriox are such an interesting concept. I'm really excited to see how FU43 execute them. I really hope they do it well, because if they do, we could have a really interesting set of antagonists on our hand that have very varying beliefs and views and, I mean, varying species as well. Like I said, having each finger of the hand be a representative of each species within the Banished would offer some incredible variety, and oh, dude, there's so much potential with the hand. I'm really excited to see how FU43 pull them off. Don't forget to check out HaloVFX's Operation Charity Falls. Trust me, you will not regret it. Trust me, it's fantastic. So, thank you all very much for watching. I want to give a massive thank you, as per usual, to all of my patrons for the continued support over there. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I've got a big, proper lore video coming later on, probably this week, about ODST, of course, because as of releasing this video, I think ODST dropped yesterday, so look out for that bad boy. Thank you all for watching once again, and I'll catch you all in the next one.